Should I take less money for a mining job to get my foot in the door? Conversations about mining. Hi, Jess. How are you?
Yeah, great, Andrew. How you going?
Yeah, really good. Thank you. Today, we've got a question from the YouTube channel. One of the subscribers has been offered a job in the mining industry, but the job actually pays less than what their current job is. And they just want to know our thoughts on it. I've got some definite thoughts on it. And I've actually had two people in the last couple of months that have approached me with exactly the same problem. So one guy was offered a traineeship out in New South Wales for 2 years, and it worked out with Programmed, and it was only going to be $25 an hour for the whole 2 years. And
Wow.
the other guy got offered a traineeship with BHP, and it was going to be less than what he was making here in Perth. I don't know what your thoughts are on it all, but I know definitely what my thoughts are on it. You know, you get into mining to make money, not to make less money. So you want to be targeting the areas that are going to pay you well.
I guess I'm in two minds about it. It depends, I guess, on your financial situation and your financial responsibilities. If you were someone younger that had kind of no debt and no financial responsibilities, no family yet, living at home still, or very minimal outgoings, I would, depending on what your experience and background were, I may say give it a go. Nothing else may come up, but it depends about the term of it as well. 2 years seems like a really massive commitment to commit to that low income. Like, that's really for the price of living these days and how much everything costs, and to be away, that's really low. Like, I feel like that's probably less than what you would get as a utility.
Yeah. It was
Most
75,000
yeah,
a year on a 2-on-1 roster for 2 years, which is $25 an hour. And
yeah, utility roles are around the kind of 80 to 85 as a casual. So I just feel like, is it a good like foot in the door? Yes.
where's it
It
going to
could
lead?
be
That's
if
that's
you
my big question. Where does it lead you
yeah,
to? What's
yeah.
what's
Are you
what are
going to
they going to
stay there?
pay after you finish your traineeship? If they're only going to pay
Yeah,
that in the
I think
traineeship.
yeah, those are the questions you need to be asking, is what role am I looking to move into? Once this traineeship is finished in 2 years, like, what positions am I going to have, where am I going to be able to move to after that? And what's the pay going to be then? Am I guaranteed a job after doing this traineeship? Are these qualifications recognized nationally, or is this just an in-house company qualification or training that is not going to mean anything to me outside of here? You really need to do your research and ask those questions. Don't be afraid to ask those questions too, or be scared that you're going to scare them off by asking the questions. Definitely ask those questions. And I feel like at the moment, with how everything's going, especially in underground, you could be jumping into an entry-level role for a lot shorter amount of time for a lot more money.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that one of the guys put to me was that it was for the BHP job, it was where the money was going to end up afterwards. So,
Yeah.
what I tried to explain to him was that with iron ore, all the big four companies, they've all just been, because they got stuffed over so bad in the early 2000s with wages, everybody's had a huge priority on reducing their wages. And that's why they brought in all these new traineeships and all this training and all the stuff that they're doing, is to give them access to a lot of workers. And when more workers they've got access to, the less money they have to pay. And that's one of the big things. Like, there's two areas of mining that's really paying big money at the moment, and that's hard rock underground and surface exploration. Everywhere else, they've got choice of experienced people, so they don't have to pay huge money. And that's a real consideration. I know people see the surface truck driving ads for $50 an hour and $55 an hour going around, but most of those jobs, those ads are for labour hire companies. So they're not full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So you can take a quarter of the wage off there, and that gives you your full-time rate. So you're bringing that back to what you'd get if you started with an underground job full-time sort of thing. And that's the other thing, are you getting into a full-time job, or is it just a training period, like you said before, and then after you finish your training period, there's no job because they're bringing another lot in for cheap wages. For me, having been in the industry for a long time, anybody that's offering you a 1-year traineeship or a 2-year traineeship to go and drive a truck, that's all about wage suppression. That's not about teaching you how to drive the truck. You should learn how to drive the truck within, 4 to 6 weeks, and you should be productive, within that time. And everything after that, that's just cheap labor for the company, unfortunately. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, the ones that are genuinely doing traineeships, because most of the time you'll hear the story of, I signed up for a 12-month traineeship, but they signed me off in 6 months and now I'm working as a production operator, happy days. Those are the ones that are genuinely using traineeships as they're intended to be used, to benefit the company and to benefit you, as an employee, and getting through some training and making some good money after that point. A 2-year traineeship seems very excessive.
Yeah. And
for an operating.
It's not just in New South Wales. I've heard, program doing it in the coalfields and Queensland as well. So 2-year traineeships on not a lot of money. A few years ago, I had one guy come through and it was $20 an hour. He reckoned he was being offered, which, they can't do that anymore, because I think at that stage, the minimum wage was like $19.80 an hour or something like that. But they can't offer it that low because of the minimum wage. And I think that's why it's had to go up to the $25 an hour, because that's just above the minimum wage now.
Yeah, look, I think you could definitely look at, at least probably half a dozen other entry-level roles that you'd be making almost double the money, and you would have more chance for career progression. I wouldn't advise to sign up to a 2-year traineeship at all for anything, really. Not in this type of circumstance and not for that type of money. They're just trying to get cheap labor.
Yeah. And if you look at what you could do if you spent the 2 years and you went and got a truck, you did the training and you went and got a truck driver's job, you should be on service crew, within 2 years, easy. Or pace crew. And that's all even time roster. And you're looking at 130 to 150,000 a year. That's the sort of money that people want when they're getting into mining. Going and driving a truck with one of these big iron ore companies, you'll be lucky to make 100,000 a year once your training's up. Because they just don't want to pay anymore, and they've got enough people lined up that are prepared to accept the smaller wages, that they don't have to worry about, that sort of thing. So it just is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So if you've got any questions about the industry, or you want to know anything specific to your circumstance, please send them through. And if you could share this information around, and like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.
Thank you.